Okay, some more of the trig review, and this is number 21. Given the point -2, -3 is on the terminal side of an angle, find the values of the 6 trigonometric functions for that angle. So you could have any point, but once you have the point, this will pretty much give you the quadrant that you're in. So we'll kind of plot that point and build ourselves a triangle. So this is number 21. So I'll draw an axis here. Hopefully I'll get it straight. Not very straight, sorry about that. And then the point is going to be, this is your y, this is your x, of course. And the point was -2, -3. That's on the terminal side. So if I go -2 about over here, this would be -2 and down 3. 1, 2. This could be -3. There's my point. So that's going to actually give us our reference angle here. And we can draw a triangle if we want. Which we should. Okay, there's our triangle. And this is going to be -2 here. And this is going to be -3 here. So this is my angle theta. Again, if you read it, given the point, -2, -3 is on the terminal side of an angle. This is the terminal side of the angle. Remember, this is the initial side, so it would go around like that. Find the values of the 6 trigonometric functions for that angle. So we need to find the hypotenuse. So we know that -2 squared plus -3 squared equals 8 squared. We're looking for the hypotenuse. That's going to be 4 plus 9 so this side would be the square root of 13. And now you got all three sides for your angle, so you can find the 6 trigonometric functions. And I've already got this little template made up I made for some other problems. And so I'll just use this. This will be number 21. And we can look over here, and the sine is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. So that's going to be negative. So that's opposite over hypotenuse, -3 over the square root of 13. And the cosine will be the adjacent over the hypotenuse, so that'd be -2 over the square root of 13. And the tangent will be the opposite over the adjacent, that'd be -3 over -2, which would just be 3 over 2. So see how we get those. I hope you can see that. A little triangle I drew. It's kind of small. See if I can zoom in a little bit. So there's my triangle there. There's my -2, -3. That's my point. So there's your triangle, opposite side, adjacent side, and hypotenuse. Okay? And then once we have these functions, we can get the reciprocal functions real easy. This is going to be negative in the square root of 13 over 3, negative the square root of 13 over 2, and then 2 over 3. So those would be the 6 functions for 21. And you could rationalize these, but it's not necessary for me. That's fine. Okay, that's 21. Let's take a look at 22. Okay, given that the cosecant of theta is -2 and the tangent is greater than 0, find the values of the 6 trigonometric functions. So let's figure out what quadrant we're in. Now, the cosecant is negative. That means actually the 1/2, right? It's the reciprocal, so it might be easier to deal with it like that. So the sign is negative. So the sign is going to be negative in these two quadrants because it's positive in these two. Okay? And then we also know that the tangent of theta is greater than 0. It's positive, so the tangent is positive in these two quadrants. So I'm going to be in my third quadrant. Okay? It's kind of like this lab. Probably not the best. Should give you a different quadrant, but that's the way it is. All right? So again, we'll draw our axes. I'll try to draw my triangle a little bit bigger in this case. So it's going to be in the third quadrant. So there's theta, and we know that the sine is negative 1/2. That's the opposite over the hypotenuse. See, opposite over hypotenuse is the sine, right? So my opposite could be 1. And my hypotenuse could be 2. And it would be -1 because it's going down, so that's where we got the negative there. Does that make sense? So now we need to find the other side, then we can find our 6 trigonometric functions for theta. Okay? So we know that we can call this x over here. So we know that x squared plus -1 squared equals 2 squared. X squared plus 1 equals 4. X squared equals 3, so x equals the square root of 3. And since it's going to the left, it's going to be negative the square root of 3. So those would be my sides, so now I can find my 6 trigonometric functions. Easy enough. Okay? So we'll get out this little template again. Put this up here. And this would be for number, I guess, 22. And the sine is going to be, well, they actually gave us, we know the sine is -1/2. So the cosine is going to be the adjacent of the hypotenuse, so that's going to be negative square root of 3 over 2. Okay? And the tangent is going to be the opposite over the adjacent. Remember, for this is going to be the opposite. I'm sorry, this is the opposite. Hypotenuse and adjacent. And so the tangent is going to be the opposite of the adjacent, which is going to be -1 over negative square root of 3, which is going to just be 1 over the square root of 3. And it kind of looks like we've got this is going to be a reference angle of 30 degrees, because the sine of 30 is 1/2, and the cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2, and tangent of 30 is 1 over square root of 3. So it looks like that's my reference angle. You can kind of figure that out. I'm sorry. Okay, and then we just take our reciprocal, so this is going to be 2, -2, -2 over the square root of 3, and the square root of 3. So those will be your 6 trigonometric functions. And like I said, if you look at these look like 30 degrees. So it looks like theta is going to be equal to 30 degrees, although it's in this quadrant, so it would actually be probably 7 pi over 6. So that's a nice exact angle we've got there. Okay, 1 more pi over 6. Is that all right? So that's what we got for number 22. Okay. So think about that. You got to draw these little triangles for 21 and 22, and hopefully that will all make sense.